If you don't like Assassin's Creed, the Assassin's Creed series, you're probably not going to like Assassin's Creed Syndicate. If you've never played an Assassin's Creed game and you want to get into it, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is not the game you should jump into. If you've played Assassin's Creed and you just kind of let it linger and you haven't really played it since like 2 or 3, and you want to get back into the series, don't jump into Assassin's Creed Syndicate, because Assassin's Creed Syndicate is so much the culmination of the past games, of things that have happened in the past games that haven't reached their conclusion yet, but they're in the next step. The things that have happened are now more ingrained into the story, both in the past stories and the present stories. They're going forward. Whenever you start the game, there's no hi, these are the assassins, this is who they are, this is what they do. They start the game with the assumption that you have at least a pretty solid idea of what's going on between the assassins, between the Templars. They assume you know, and they hit the ground running. There's no soft easing in period of Arno learning about the assassins and you learning about the assassins and the Templars and Abstergo. The game starts assuming that you know most everything. This game is definitely not, I feel this game is definitely not for strangers to the series. This game, to me, feels like it was made specifically with longtime fans of this series who have devoured all the games, who have, who know the story, who know the characters, who know the themes and the ideas of Assassin's Creed. This game was made for them. This game was made for us. I've been a longtime fan of the series since Assassin's Creed 1. And playing this game, there's so much from the other games in this one that if you have no point of reference for the other games, I feel like you're gonna be a little lost. Because this game, it's Assassin's Creed. It is the strengths, it is all of the best parts of Assassin's Creed put into this game. The stealth, the historical locations, the historical figures. This series, it definitely feels like they've stopped trying to make a series for all the gamers. Everyone who's ever played a game are going to want to play this game. They've stopped trying to do that and just made a game for those they already have. One of the common issues I hear from people why they don't like Assassin's Creed games is because they feel that it's just become, oh, well, they're putting one out every year, and it's just the same thing. It's like, well, yeah, it's the same thing, and they compare it to Call of Duty. And yes, Call of Duty is more or less the same thing every time. They add a few new things, they polish it up a bit, but it's still Call of Duty. And Assassin's Creed is the same thing, and that's not a bad thing because their, I guess you say, formula for the game, it works. And it makes the game what it is, and it has all the things that longtime fans like myself have loved. Just to give you some background, the story, it follows two assassin twins, the Jacob and Evie Fry, who are twins who go to London to fight Templars, and they both kind of go on separate paths. Evie is kind of looking into the first generation and precursor stuff and the apples of Eden, and the more historical stuff, while Jacob is just punching people and killing Templars. Another topic for another Assassin's Creed topic that's been on my mind a lot lately, playing Syndicate, is diversity in their characters. And there's just something I want to touch on really quick. I feel like it was a big deal that they added Evie as a playable character, as one of the main characters, as one of the main assassins in this game. That you can play as Evie, a woman going around assassin, kicking just as much ass as Jacob does, because it gives you the chance to play a woman. Yes, most of the assassins, the main assassins in Assassin's Creed, have been male. But also, more often than not, they've been people of color. In the first one, you had Altair, who was Middle Eastern, and then you had Ezio, who was, he was Italian, he was very, dark-skinned, tanned Italian. Then in 3, you had Connor, who was a Native American. You also had the game Assassin's Creed Liberation, which a lot of people seem to forget that game exists. It does, and you play as Aveline, who is a black woman in New Orleans, which is just one of the things I love about it, is I loved climbing around New Orleans. But you play as a black female in New Orleans. After that, you had Edward Kenway, who was a white Welshman, and then you had Arnaud Dorian, who was a white Frenchman, and then you had, in this most recent one, you had Jacob and Evie Fry, who were white English twins. But you also have, that is still coming out, Assassin's Creed Chronicles, which is a side-scroll. One that's out now is Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, where you play as Xiao Jun, who was a student of Ezio, who was from China. And then the next ones that are coming out, I believe the next one is an Indian male from India, and then you have, I believe he's a white Russian. But I feel like they've done a pretty fair job of diversifying their characters. Sure, there's definitely, I mean, there's always more room for diversity and equality in their cast of characters, in any cast of characters, in anything. You can always be a little bit more diverse and include different walks of life. But I feel like Assassin's Creed has done a really good job of that. That's just me. It's something I've been thinking about because it was a big deal that you got to play as Evie, and I've already played as 2 assassin females in the past, so I didn't feel it was as big a deal as it's being made out to be. But it's still great. Evie and Jacob, I thought, were both equally great characters. I loved watching them interact with each other. They both had their own personalities. They are fun to watch. They are fun to play. It was a good game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But that's because I have played Assassin's Creed from the beginning. I know what's going on. I've played through these games multiple times. I know the stories. I know the things that have happened. So I wasn't lost or surprised even in this game, because everything that happened, like, I knew the backstory of it. I knew what had happened before to culminate into this next installment of the game. If you don't like Assassin's Creed, you're probably not going to like this Assassin's Creed game. I say that because as gamers, we always want to play the next big game. You always want to play the one that everyone else is playing, even though we may have never been into it before. And Assassin's Creed is one of the things that a lot of people are going to be playing and talking about. So someone who hasn't played the games might want to get into it. They shouldn't just jump into this game. They should maybe start with 4. Black Flag is a game that, if you didn't like Assassin's Creed, you could probably play Black Flag and like Assassin's Creed. Because it was such a different entity than the other Assassin's Creed game. Black Flag was more the pirate game that we've always wanted, instead of being another assassin game. Yes, the Assassins and the Templars and the Precursors were a big part of it, but not as big a part as just being a pirate and blowing up ships and fighting battles. It was a pirate game. It was more a pirate game than it was an Assassin's game. So Black Flag, you could get away with never playing an Assassin's Creed game in your life and jump into that one no problem. This one, not so much. What do you think of Assassin's Creed Syndicate? Let me know in the comments. Follow me on all the internets. Check out my channel for videos every Monday and Friday. Check out my blog for all the TV shows that I write about. And definitely subscribe to my channel so I can geek out some more. Thanks for watching and have fun. So Captain America, Thor, Hulk.